within a recently designated marine protected area in the western region of the United Arab Emirates. Extensive seagrass beds flourish across the soft, silty seafloor, carpeting the shallow seabed, forming one of the most productive of the world's marine biotopes. These grasses are an important resource for many marine organisms, each part of the plant being utilized by many different animals, and like land plants, they produce oxygen. Many species, including green turtles, feed directly on seagrass. Perhaps one of the most unusual animals to utilize the seagrass beds is the rarely seen dugong, a very shy and highly threatened marine mammal. More closely related to the elephant and rock hyrax than to other marine mammals such as whales or dolphins, dugongs are often only seen when they surface to breathe. Their timid disposition makes them very difficult to study, and regional efforts have been sporadic and with mixed results. Filming them was almost impossible.
تحس أكثر مكان أدناته ما تتحرك شيء هي حساسة.
Darwish recalls a time when dugongs were found in their hundreds, easy pickings for hungry fishermen.
هالبادي يشتونه؟
كان يعني مشهور لحمه.
إيه مشهور الحمل مشهور لين الحمل مشهور. أخطر الحمل. ممنوع صيده أو تربط تماشي جليد. ما عرفوا شو الحل يعني اللي هذا يعني غرضها. عدل ولا؟ غرضها المكاين، صوت المكاين. لو بنصيد ملايين منها. كل يوم 8 9 كل يوم نصيد منها. لكنها ما عنده قرقعة، ما عنده قصير.
Here in the Gulf, dugong numbers are now thought to be between 3,000 to 4,000, making this the world's second largest population of dugongs in the world. Australia is home to the biggest, with over 80,000. It is hard to know exactly how dugong populations are managing in the Gulf at this time. It is hoped that Abu Dhabi's recent designation of this region as a marine protected area will have a very positive impact. But according to Darwish, the problems may remain.
لكن إن شاء الله الحين بيجي حل إن شاء الله بيحلونه عن هذا ويرد السمك مثل الأول والبقر مثل الأول. أما البقر ما ظني البقر بكري ما يرد البقر لأن صوت المكاين عام وهو كله عند المراتب والدواب. مر الدواب والمراتب على وين مرساه وين يصير هذا الدرب لازم يمر يعني لازم يخفض. يمكن يوم يمنع بقعة يعني يرد جداها يمكن. هني الحين كم واحد 7 8 هني بطن مروح.
Dolphins are present in the Gulf, and in significantly important numbers, sometimes joined by various species of whales. There are thought to be up to and maybe over 27 species of cetaceans found in Arabia's seas, but it remains unclear how many are specific to the Gulf. Bottlenose dolphins form into nomadic pods, covering large distances, moving boldly through the Indo-Pacific humpback dolphin territory. These more timid creatures enjoy the relative safety of these shallow waters and form into large extended family groups with their own territories. All of these habitats and ecosystems are increasingly under pressure, given the rapid development of this region. Authorities are creating marine protected areas and nature reserves. Fishing regulations are also improving practices throughout the whole region. Even the presence of the world's largest offshore oil fields has a more positive impact today than might be expected. The security zone status is helping to keep fishermen out of large areas of sea, and the underwater structures are creating artificial reef habitats that attract large numbers of colonizing and pelagic marine life, from mollusks to key predators, such as these barracuda. Despite this, no amount of artificial habitat can replace the values of a natural ecosystem. In spite of its harsh conditions, the Arabian Gulf sustains some amazing wildlife. The vitality of the sea and its power of natural remediation is many times more than that of the desert. Regional authorities are bound to be concerned, especially as now the progress made in some areas is once again being reversed by changing conditions caused by coastal developments. Contrary to what most people expect, the seas of Arabia are a far cry from being an arid reflection of sunburned deserts and arid land. These seas, which we explore in the next 2 films, are amongst the richest ecosystems in the world, part of the same fauna and flora that reaches out across the Indo-Pacific region. Some coral species present in Oman can be found as far away as Hawaii. Coral reefs are the most beautiful of all aquatic ecosystems, home to the largest variety of marine life, but restricted to the relatively narrow coastal margin of the world's tropical and subtropical seas. And they produce more living biomass than any other marine ecosystem. These coral reefs are mountains of limestone, created as layer upon layer of calcium carbonate skeletons from countless generations of reef-building corals, form the foundation for many dynamic communities of sea life. Arabia's seas support some of the most wonderful and unspoiled coral reefs in the world, and in this episode, we travel from the Gulf of Aqaba in Jordan, along the largely undived northern Red Sea of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Branching eastwards from the northernmost tip of the Red Sea, we find the Gulf of Aqaba. Here in Jordan's only coastal city, we join scientists from the Marine Science Center on a routine check of the Marine Reserve. This is a small area that escapes both tourism and industrial pressures that affect the rest of the mere 27 kilometers of Jordan's coastline.
The Jordanian coast is about 27 kilometers. It extends from north to south, and the total the coast of the Gulf of Aqaba is about 180 kilometers. So this is a limited coast, in fact, but it is very important.
characterized by long swathes of coral slopes, broken up by areas of fine white sand and seagrass beds. Jordan's coastline is on the shallower side of the Gulf.
Red Sea fish species, about 1,300 fishes, while within this limited coast we have 500, more than 500 fish species. About 40% of the Red Sea fish species are in the Jordanian coast.
These reefs comprise both hard, stony reef-building corals and brightly colored soft corals. Within the Marine Science Station Reserve, these reefs are in almost perfect health, as only the researchers are allowed to dive here. But less than a kilometer away, the pressures facing the reef are evident. This is the site of Jordan's only seaport, a vitally important trade route for the country and its neighbors. Volumes of shipping and associated pollution are certainly creating pressures. Recently, ACESA, Aqaba's Special Economic Zone Authority, has called for port expansion, something that both environmentalists and tourism developers are trying to argue against.
The protected area is very important, especially along this limited coast. Of course, it supports the other reef with fishes because it is a nursery ground, a spawning ground for coral reef fishes, and this supports other reefs which is not protected maybe with those fishes and stocks, of course. In fact, many of the fishes which are dominant in the northern Gulf of Aqaba, they are rare in the central or southern Red Sea, and vice versa.
As tourism plays such a vital economic role, the limited amount of coast and its crystal clear waters are in high demand for recreational use, and diving here is a popular activity. This led ACESA to designate a marine park authority, creating a protected status area for recreational and conservation purposes. On average, 13,000 divers visit these reefs each year, mostly from Europe. ACESA